Here.
Thanks. I'm just so thirsty.
This is the last bit of uncontaminated stuff.
So how long do you think we're gonna have to keep living like this?
Until we find our paradise, I guess.
Hey, as long as it has a shower, too. Although, I wonder what I'll do when we find paradise. I could settle down. Furios! You there?
How's she doing?
Her condition has stabilized for now. I can't believe this would happen. Oh, you're awake.
Dunan, how do you feel?
Briarios.
Are you okay?
Do you feel ill? I'm just so thirsty.
That SWAT member needs to be quarantined. What? Why? I'm not obligated to explain. Now move! Dunan, stop it! What are you doing? Let me go! Stand down! Wait! Dunan!
Why did I do that? I'm so thirsty. And my neck. It hurts.
Freeze! I've got one!
I remember. The lights went out then, too. Hit the floor if you want to
No
live!
use. They're too freaked. Yes. Hold it down till backup arrives. Dunan, with me. This way. Hang on! What was that?
That's what I'd like to know.
Our own colleagues started attacking us!
They what? That's right. That's how I got this bite. What the hell is going on? Damn, this place is like a labyrinth. Where am I? Stay calm. Just think and it'll all come back to you. They really do look like vampire bites, don't they?
Apparently, faulty combat bioroids are to blame for this. So yeah, you just know the tabloids are gonna have themselves a field day with this one.
This place belongs to the Arisian embassy. Arisian VIPs were being assassinated one after the next, so the remaining leadership was brought to the embassy's facility for protection. And we were placed under their command to provide additional security.
During their civil war, they dabbled in genocide and ethnic cleansing. And now Eris is still a hotbed of political unrest. All these guys have been constant targets of anti-government terrorism. so they sought asylum here in Olympus.
So now we're playing bodyguard for war criminals?
Having some doubts? I guess that's what sucks about being the world's police force. I even heard Lance moaning about it earlier.
Lance was?
Right. Get to your positions.
Dunin.
Bastard tried to play it off by telling us it was some kind of honorable mission, protecting a bunch of war heroes.
Guess whoever wins gets to call themselves the heroes, huh?
The reality of the situation is there's a need for humans who won't hesitate to trust their own sense of justice when they're forced to choose between opposing causes.
Can't believe we have to support these kinds of people.
Hey, stop.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And quite rare, too. A rainbow separating the still, faintly lit sky and the darkened horizon. Oh, man. I've never seen anything like it. For so long, I have assumed that paradise existed only in fairy tales. But knowing that there is beauty like this gives me hope that perhaps I was wrong. Maybe it is out there. An utterly beautiful paradise where all can find happiness. Where all can find happiness. That'd be nice.
Look at that. There was a poet who said rainbows were bridges that spanned the gap between light and darkness. He said if only we could cross them, they'd take us to places we could only dream of.
Look at them. Do they even realize they're under guard?
Doesn't matter what they're doing, it has no bearing on our job. Even if they are a bunch of modern-day minotaurs, if you know what I mean.
Not really.
He's talking about the energy source for their combat bioroids. If the rumors are true, they're using the blood of their citizens for fuel.
Their blood?
Sure, like how the Greeks used to believe the Minotaur preyed on living sacrifices in his labyrinth.
So is that it? Why they're being assassinated?
Someone's telling them now it's their turn to be sacrificed. Hey, yeah, sorry. Well, that's ominous. Anybody know when witching hour starts?
That's right. I remember. That's when I was bitten. And then I bit Dia too. Blood. That's what this thirst is. It's making me attack people and drink their blood. What? My vision is... Is this reality? Or am I hallucinating? There. You're safe now. It's you again. You got me out of there, didn't you? It's only a matter of time until they spot us. Be honest with me. Am I going to end up like them too? Are you afraid? Of course. But I hurt my own friend. It's myself that I'm really afraid of. What you're telling me takes heart. Feeling hurt or knowing you've hurt someone else. Perhaps it's almost better to abandon your heart and become like them. You shouldn't even joke about it. They're like evil spirits. Like something out of one of my nightmares. How can they be real? Evil spirits. That's a good way of putting it. They are responsible for turning my paradise into hell. And now, they will pay the price. They will pay most dearly. Please. Do you know what's happening to them? The village I once lived in was paradise to me. It was nothing special, but I was happy there. Wait a minute, what are you doing? Like them, I too must cease to be. I must pay for my sins. No, that's crazy. You've done nothing wrong. These people, if you could ever call them that, tested a weapon on my village. And just like you see here, it spread like wildfire. Until they slaughtered each other. Down to the last man. So the name you used is really quite fitting. Evil spirits. They've been affected by molecular weapons. Weapons based on Alcides' genes. They usurp intracellular signal transduction to perform radical biomodification, increasing physical and regenerative capabilities to hyper-efficient levels.
Their agility and endurance were on par with combat bioroids. Is the human metabolism really capable of that?
It would seem so, but it requires blood from a living donor.
Okay. Suddenly that Minotaur rumor makes a lot more sense.
I can't believe it. How could they do this to their people? This molecular weapon was named after its first victim.
Heck of a body blow, man. Ouch. Sorry. We couldn't afford to go easy on you.
If I wasn't wearing this Gartham, I'd be dead. Where's Doonan?
I couldn't recover her. I'm sorry.
So, what's this molecular weapon called?
Erinais. That was the name taken from me. Everything was taken from me, until all I had left was a hatred for these people. And an insatiable thirst for bloody revenge. But killing them out of that thirst only succeeded in turning me into an evil spirit, just like them. But evil spirits don't really exist. You're wrong. Even a paradise filled with light will still have inescapable shadows. In the dark places humans don't see, one spirit has crawled back here from the depths of hell. That spirit is me. Just look. The rainbow is still there. It made you hope paradise might really be out there, right? You're not alone. I've been out there looking for the same thing. We share that dream. We also share the doubts. Lately, I felt the same. Like it's an illusion. Just some unattainable fairy tale I made up. Perhaps there never was a utopia to begin with. No. It exists, and I will find it. I have to. And you can too. If you ever have hope of finding it, then I must cease to be. Because in paradise, there is no room for evil spirits. I can't believe it would be used this way.
Seems Olympus's regard for Tartarus's technical skill and Iswan's adaptability is well deserved.
Yes, well done, all of you. You saved us.
These people, if you could ever call them that, tested a weapon on my village. Some reality. They are nightmares. Minotaurs preying on the weak with no consequences.
Dunan, are you alright?
Is this it? The reality you talked about? But that would mean that she was just another victim in the labyrinth, sacrificed to a cause that she never believed in the first place.
Calm down, Dunan. Who's this her you're talking about?
This woman right here. Where did Irenaeus go? Who?
You were the only one here.
No, that's not true. She was right here. The woman who was standing with us when we saw that rainbow.
You and I were the only ones there then as well.
You're wrong. You had to have seen me talking to her.
No, it really was just you.
You may be suffering from stress-induced short-term memory loss. What are you saying? Are you telling me that none of this is real? Am I still stuck in a nightmare? Please, if I am dreaming all of this, then wake me up right now. Irenaeus? How do you know my mother's name? She was the very first victim of the cognitive networking weapon to die in our village. I don't know. She was your mother? Dunan, this is Eumenides. She's a molecular designer who defected from Eris and helped me develop a vaccine.
Here's what I don't get. We turned back to normal even though we got bit, right? So how come we didn't end up like all the others?
The Irenaeus doesn't have true artificial intelligence, but one of its principal attributes is the formation of advanced cognitive networks between cells. If it determines that a host isn't a target, it's built to terminate itself. Upon killing a target, though, it disintegrates, leaving no traces behind. This has made it impossible to detect with current forensic pathological methods. That's why, for so long, we thought it was terrorists who were assassinating the Erisians.
So what you're saying here is, these guys got shot with their own gun.
The thing is, as far as I can tell, no anti-government groups were ever involved. Then who started it? Analysis suggests a programming bug was caused by some kind of molecular canceration. Apparently its human hosts carried it beyond Eris's borders and brought it to Olympus when they sought refuge. How could that even be possible? Some kind of cancer-induced glitch causing all of this? Instead of a man-made program? I don't know, seems far-fetched.
No way. No human being would go this far without one hell of a reason.
Revenge. Regardless, I've transmitted the data to my associates back home. The people of my village and the countless anti-government activists murdered under this regime of terror will finally have their justice. My mother, and all of the other victims, will have the vengeance they deserve.
The reality of the situation is there's a need for humans who won't hesitate to trust their own sense of justice when they're forced to choose between opposing causes.
No battle ever ends in justice. Maybe the woman I met, this Irenaeus, was some wandering spirit of vengeance, trying to balance the scales for her people.
There was a poet who said rainbows were bridges that spanned the gap between light and darkness.
But there will always be war. Rainbows bridging the gap between opponents don't really exist. And if that's so, And maybe there can never be a bridge that spans the divide between me and Briarios.